What is a secret you know about someone that could literally ruin their life? I seem to be the only person who knows that I have no idea what I'm doing. Don't tell my employer. Spoiler alert, if you know how to fake it well enough that you've lasted more than a month or two, you do, in fact, know what you're doing. Sincerely, a guy who's about to get a real big promotion because his boss is quitting, and will be telling himself this over and over again for the next few months. Imposter syndrome is very common. Same here. I am sitting in my office surfing Reddit while everyone around me seems to be working. I don't know what they are working on, and besides responding to the 3 to 4 emails a day, nobody questions what do I do, so let it rock. A coworker bragged, at work, about losing his virginity the night of his bachelor party, but his wife still doesn't know and thinks they lost their virginity to each other on their wedding night. It's a very big deal to her and would most likely end in their divorce if she ever found out. He waited all that time. Why would he throw it away on a stranger and brag? That's crazy. Because people are all sorts of effing stupid. I mean, there is a spectrum of all kinds of stupid people are. Source: I take 911s and dispatch cops for a living for the last 15 years, I done heard some crap. Help, penis stuck in microwave. I feel something like this would end in divorce in most relationships. Losing one's virginity or not. Yeah, by the point that you are engaged and literally about to have the wedding, I think monogamy is pretty obviously implied. My brother had an affair with one of my friend's mums. She used to give him a lift to work when he was 18 years old, and she started being suggestive on one drive, so they pulled over, and you know what? This continued for a long time, over 6 months. She ended up getting obsessed with him, and he blocked her on all social media and his phone and basically buried his head in the sand. Her husband is a huge skinhead scary guy that owns one of the pubs, and her son is a lifelong friend of mine. None of them know. He only told me as she, seemingly, didn't tell anyone. It's pretty weird having such a weighted secret. That mom is weird as F. Too bad the husband will see it as this dude effed my wife and not my wife effed this dude. Your bro is an actual mother effer. This guy mother effs. My friend had sex with his wife's sister long before they got married. She has no idea. Edit, let me clarify. Wife is the one who has no idea. When it happened, my friend and his wife had just started hooking up. I don't think he ever thought they would get married. This happened in my family. My uncle had kids with my aunt. Then divorced her, had kids with and married her younger sister. My cousins are both cousins and siblings to each other. He was not my grandparents' favorite person. Uncle Daddy. Coming soon to TLC. God, that channel has fallen. And this is my 3/4 brother. I met my wife through her sister, who I used to date in high school. Both me and the sister were clean and upfront to my wife that we've had sex before I started officially dating my wife. Since that conversation, it has never been mentioned again, and I think my wife likes to pretend she doesn't know or tries her hardest to forget. Anyhow, we are happily married with 2 kids and life's good. I think letting her know at the start was the best decision I made. I'm in the Navy and I know a lot of people who have cheated on their spouses. I'm sure if I spilled the beans, at least a few of them would have their lives ruined. You see that a lot in the Navy, sadly. Military in general, to be honest. To be honest, you see it everywhere when people are away from their spouses. Work conferences and wine. Work conferences and wine. I worked on a website for a travel conference and it was literally described as a bed hopping session. In general, you see it everywhere because so many people cheat. It's a really common thing. The amount of infidelity I saw when I worked corporate events was insane. The lesser-known B-side of Cliff Richard's classic Christmas hit. There's some old saying about how if sailors have a woman in every port, why don't they assume their women have a sailor on every ship? Une femme dans chaque port, un pour dans chaque femme. A woman in each port, a pig, pour, in each woman. Last letters are silent in French. Whenever I try to pronounce French, I just use every other letter. So far, the result is about 50-50. My great-grandfather fought in World War II and had a close buddy who killed himself shortly after coming home. His CO had him convinced that because he'd been gone for so long that his wife must have been finding comfort at home. So decided he'd do the same while he was deployed. Some weeks after coming home he found a handmade sex toy and asked her about it, and through her embarrassment she confessed that she used that on herself when she'd think of him while he was gone, and that's how she'd get through the times when she missed him the most. The guilt crushed him so completely he left her a letter confessing everything, along with will leaving everything to her. Then he left on a fishing trip he never came home from. Maybe it's true, or maybe it's not. I say that because this story was told to me as a lesson in not assuming the worst about people, and the measure of a real man being how he behaves when everyone else is misbehaving. There is this guy I know, we have a mutual friend. He used to work for a small garage in a town that had many military families living there, often with husbands away overseas. Women would call the garage asking for this guy to come by their house and help them start the car. They had left their lights on, empty battery, that kind of thing. He'd always come back looking hot and sweaty. Over time it became very obvious, and TT got to the point where someone from the nearby military base called the garage saying they should never ever again send that guy to help start an engine in the morning, or else. Except for the last sentence, all this is porn happening in reality. My mom told me my stepfather is not my stepsister's biological father. My stepsister has no idea. Update, wow. This completely blew up. Here's a little more information. My stepfather knows he is not the biological father. He found out when my stepsister had some blood work done as a baby. She's O negative. That isn't possible based on his blood type. He confronted his now ex-wife about it and she said it didn't matter. She said my stepsister was the result of an affair that was a one-time thing and that my stepfather raised her as his own and that shouldn't change. Also, I will never tell her. It's not my secret to tell. Besides, my stepfather is her father as far as I'm concerned. She's smart, kind and a hard worker in large part due to him raising her, so I don't care if they don't share the same bloodline. He's an amazing man and I consider him one of my dads too. But does the stepfather know it's not his daughter? Stepsister is kind of ambiguous here. It's possible that the stepfather brought the stepsister from his past marriage, and that his ex-wife cheated on him, but he still loved the kid and kept it anyway, bringing it to the new marriage, and telling his new wife that it is not his daughter but he wants to care for her anyway. My girlfriend's grandfather has a secret family. He immigrated to my country from the US when he was younger, and kept in touch with his ex, I want to say wife? Could be girlfriend, but he is also dating a woman here, who is the mother of a very prominent political figure in my country, has a decent shot at being our next prime minister. He travels back and forth from my country to the States, to visit family and play golf, and the woman left behind has no idea. The one living in the US actually knows about the other one, but the one in my country is fairly religious and would probably not approve. I went to university with a guy who became a very successful drugs dealer on the dark web. He made tens of millions, then quietly retired somewhere in Asia and opened a vegan restaurant. His wife and kids don't have a clue. Last we spoke he said he still held most of the Bitcoin he collected back then and it's worth 9 digits now. I don't want to say much more, he's the nicest guy who just unwittingly stumbled into a dubious windfall. So he has, at minimum 100 million, damn. I feel like an idiot for selling drugs for actual cash now. Were they stuck at least? Those damn sinks, washing machines, and windows, man. Gets you every time. The occasional table or couch too. My adopted daughter's biological mother had severe mental health issues, and her drug addiction killed her. These stem from the fact that she knew she was the product of an incestuous rape, and it was not kept secret. I don't ever want my daughter to find out, because I'm afraid of what it could do to her psychologically. A good friend of mine is Indian and gay, which she knows her family won't accept. She about to have an arranged marriage to a man, who is also gay. Neither of these families know the truth and are excited about the upcoming wedding. The groom's boyfriend is part of the wedding party. They plan to have children via IVF at some point. Given the circumstances, this is a pretty good marriage, and good luck to them and their other partners. Maybe all the parents know but don't want the cultural shame and provided their kids with an excellent match. What a messy world we live in. Well, at least they're both gay. Decreases the risk of her being trapped in a sexually abusive relationship, for example. This would probably be the ideal scenario for me if I was forced into an arranged marriage. I hope it works out well for them. One of my brother's military friends sexually assaulted me while my brother, his friend, and one of my friends were hanging out playing pool and drinking. My brother knows because I told him the night it happened. My family also knows. The dude is married and has 3 kids. Initially my brother was furious and talked about shooting the guy, but now they're friends again and the reasoning he gave me was everybody cheats. Except none of it was consensual and I'm not a piece of crap. His wife showed up in my People You May Know on Facebook and I've contemplated telling her. Edit. Thank you everyone for your kind words and support. I posted this during an awful, sleepless night and I wish I could take the time to respond to each and every one of you. I plan on telling the wife, and yes, my brother cheated on his partner to be with his current wife. He's also in the military and that's how he knows the douche in question. Thank you all again, but since this has blown up so much I'm going to deactivate notifications. I will read each and every reply and will do my best to respond. Edit 2. It wasn't full-on rape, but I was unconscious and woke up to his friend groping me underneath my clothing. We had all been drinking but I did not and would not have ever consented to him even touching me. When I told my brother about it, we were already at home and my friend was there with us. He also mentioned that he didn't want me around his military friends because they had made comments about me and he said he was afraid of something happening. So obviously he knew his friends were crap, but he did say this dude was his best friend and he wasn't the one he was worried about doing something to me. Also, this incident happened a couple of years ago when I was visiting my family in the Midwest for a few months. I no longer live near any of these people and so I don't see them regularly. My family has always been the type to keep things to themselves and I was always taught to not draw attention to myself or be a burden. I'm half Asian, so hopefully this explanation makes sense to anyone who had very strict Asian parents. WTF is wrong with your brother? Yeah, what the F? My brothers and I would be lining up to beat someone who sexually assaulted our sister within an inch of their life. Let alone being friends with them. I was sexually harassed by my brother's friend, at my brother's birthday party, in front of him and my dad. No one did anything. In fact, my brother came over to me and said, "Thanks for being so cool, sorry he's such a drunk." I feel you. My cousin used to molest me when I was younger and I didn't really understand what was going on, except that I hated his very touch. Years later, I told my parents. They were furious and quite protective after that. Now, I don't hate him, but it's a wound that'll never heal. However, what pains me the most is how my father is really cool about it all. He just doesn't understand the trauma it gives. I suppose for him, it isn't a big deal until anything carnal happens. Everybody cheats is a crap reason. Sorry to hear that your family did nothing. I hope one day you find the courage to report it. Tell her. You'd want to know your husband sexually assaulted someone, right? We only get one life to live, screw that guy. Or don't, I wouldn't blame you for not telling her, it's messy and uncomfortable. One of my coworkers smokes meth at work. In the last 3 months I've found probably half a dozen pipes she's left behind because she's too effed up to remember to hide them. About a month ago, she started leaving these passive-aggressive notes, usually when the boss shows up, about how she's the only one who does her job. I showed her the folder on my phone and told her if she leaves another bullcrap note for me to read, I'll call the boss, and then I'll call DHR. I don't give a F about that job, but I'll be F'd before I let some tweaker get me fired. The old meth pipe blackmail tactic. I dig it. I see you've played Spoon Y Pipe Y before. You're probably letting that tweaker think of another, potentially less logical course of action by delaying taking action yourself. I was thinking the same thing. Tweakers are unpredictable, irrational, and illogical. But somehow, it makes sense to them. I just ignore them and let them be great, but it's definitely an eerie experience. Dude, I've had experience with people addicted to meth and you need to report it immediately and ensure complete anonymity. Meth causes incredible paranoid delusions, And if she knows you are aware and threatening her, at least in her mind, she could do something incredibly dangerous towards you. Let them find her pipes and take care of it. Seriously. Act on it now. You cannot have meth heads around, dude. Who knows what they can do under influence? Don't wait till your boss finds out that you knew all along. Yeah, seriously, it's a huge liability to yourself to later admit that you knew all along and did nothing. I don't know what your job is, but it could also pose a safety risk. I'd report that crap right away, if not for your coworkers, for yourself. If they find out for whatever reason that you knew the entire time, your job is gone regardless. I used to know someone who told her daughter her bio dad is dead. He is not and very findable. Crazy. Update: I never said anything because the father in question was a violent douche and she wanted to protect her child. Also tie for the awards. First one's here, now to figure out what to do. They just chill there, cool. Happened to my dad. When his father decided he wanted to meet him, it was a horrible adjustment to go from dead father to he's visiting this week. My mother was never able to get in touch with her biological parents. Who would have thought Catholic social services would be secretive? A few years after she died, at the age of 41, I got a cryptic phone call from one of Bio Mom's children, but she wouldn't tell me anything. A couple years later, Bio Mom dies and the rest of them find out about their secret half-sibling and get in contact with me. One of them tells me they did some research and are quite sure they found the bio dad, the guy who knocked her up in high school, who happens to live really close to me. Now they won't tell me who that is. I'm not sure what gives people the belief that they can be the gatekeeper for information like that, but F it, I'm done with them. What's nice is, once you have kids of your own, you stop caring so much about who you came from and start caring about who came from you. My biological grandfather could be a mile away and I couldn't care less. Thanks for sharing this. I'm up late scrolling feeding my infant and was worrying about family drama. And you're right. Whenever it's just our little family unit, I don't care about their insane bullcrap. While pregnant, I also did a lot of ruminating about our effed up history and how I don't want that for my child. So I need to let go and just enjoy this good stuff. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.